Hi everyone. Today we're doing a desk workers flow. And so this flow I've actually designed so you can do it seated in your office chair or at a table chair, or if you want, you can also do this on the floor. If you're doing this on the floor, the only thing that you're going to need is a prop to help stretch open your pec. So using the side of either the wall, or if you have a really heavy wardrobe or TV stand or something that you can use to rest your arm on and open up the chest a little bit. That's the only thing that you'll be missing out if you're not using a chair. So we're actually getting seated in a chair. And take a moment, maybe you're gently closing your eyes. Maybe if the eyes are open, gently softening the gaze. And certainly if you're sitting in front of your computer, turn your monitor off for the next little bit so you aren't distracted by all the whizzing of emails or things happening on your desktop. Take a moment to check in with your breath here. Beginning to deepen your inhale and your exhale. Taking a moment to tune into your body, seeing how your body feels in this moment. Checking in if you're feeling any soreness through the hips, the lower back, maybe some soreness through the neck and shoulders, or if it's not sore, maybe you're feeling a bit of tension from sitting here. Take a moment, if you're feeling a bit of stiffness, give yourself a little shake, a little shimmy shake, maybe wiggle a little side to side so that you can rest in a comfortable seated position. Again, elongating and beginning to exaggerate your inhale and your exhale a little bit further. And trying to transition into belly style or diaphragmatic style breathing. As you inhale, feel your belly expand like a beach ball. And as you exhale, feeling your belly deflate, maybe using your core a little bit to squeeze out those last few bits of air. Continuing here for a moment. Take one more deep breath, inhaling. And exhaling. Maybe gently blinking the eyes open, slowly lifting the gaze back up to neutral here. We'll start with some neck stretches. So taking your left hand behind your back. If you find that when you do this, your left shoulder sneaks forward, we want to think about squeezing that left shoulder blade towards the spine. So it's not necessarily get the hand as far behind you as you can, but roll that shoulder back as much as you can so you can open up that front left side of your chest here. So with that chest opening, you'll tilt your head away from that shoulder, so right ear towards right shoulder, stretching out through the left side of the neck and shoulders. So taking ear straight down to the shoulder, and you might feel a bit of a stretch in through that left side of your neck and shoulders here. Make sure that the shoulder naturally wants to sneak up towards the ear, so draw that left elbow down towards the floor to really lengthen out through the left side of your neck. And then maybe you begin shifting your chin and gaze slightly up and over towards the left, so you begin feeling the stretch change into the front side of your neck here. Again, keep that shoulder drawing back towards that spine. Keep that elbow drawing down towards the floor, lifting up nice and tall through the crown of the head. And then slowly unwinding back through center here. Use your right hand, so the other side, and reach the right hand up and overhead and bend into your left side body so you stretch through the whole right side of your rib cage and through the shoulder. Plug that right shoulder in towards the socket and begin reaching over to the left. If you have an armrest on your chair, that might actually help you get a little bit of leverage. So think about pushing the rib cage over towards the right as you reach over towards the left. And then we'll draw ourselves back through center. And the left hand now seeks your chair, the back of your chair. So you want to, I'll pivot so you can see. You want to shift your bum so that you're seated a little bit forward and your left arm seeks the right side of your chair. So it goes all the way up and behind you. If you're really tight through the shoulders, you might need to angle yourself a little bit so that you're closer here. And then roll the shoulder back. So again, the shoulder might sneak up towards the ear. Roll that shoulder back and down towards the mat and think about hugging that inner left elbow into the chair. This might be enough of a stretch, or maybe you begin trying to turn your chest towards the front, towards neutral here. And again, breathe as you open up. Maybe you're feeling a significant stretch through the chest. And if this is, you're on the mat, you can do this. You can actually do this against the floor. So if this whole action was the floor, you could lay on the floor, or you could grab hold of the side of your couch or kitchen cupboard or wherever you are at home that you're doing this stretch. And then slowly unwind back, draw yourself back through center. So working into the second side here, so right side, take the right hand behind your body. Again, not getting preoccupied with how far it goes, but rolling that shoulder back and thinking about hugging that that right elbow rather, back towards the back of your chair. From here, tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder, and you should feel a bit of a stretch through that right side of your neck. And then slowly, maybe tilting your gaze so that your chin and your nose go up and slightly over towards the right. So you shift and feel the stretch a little bit more in the front aspect of your neck, of the right side of your neck. Again, that shoulder, your right shoulder might be creeping up to the ear, so draw that shoulder back and away. Push that right elbow down towards the floor to lengthen through the right side of your neck even more. Good, take another deep breath. And then slowly unwinding, drawing yourself back through center. The left arm, drawing the left arm up and overhead and then bending into the right side body. Push the ribs over towards the left as you reach towards the right. That will deepen the stretch here. So being mindful of your core, being mindful of your breath. So as you breathe, trying to find a little bit more calmness rather than like. But if you're feeling a significant stretch and this feels painful, you might be a little ragged, and that's okay. Let's draw ourselves back through center, moving into that pec stretch for the second side. So second side, the right side, might be a little bit more difficult if you're right-handed. So orienting yourself so you can take your right arm, your right elbow to the outside of the left side of your chair. And then you're using that as leverage. Inhale, lift your chest up, getting nice and tall. Roll the shoulder down away from the ear and try to hug that elbow into the object that you're using for leverage. Then slowly, maybe you begin turning the chest away from your arm to deepen the stretch a little bit further. And this helps to combat that action of having your shoulders rounded forward when you're on your keyboard. And then slowly unwinding, drawing yourself back through center. And we'll do that whole same sequence again. So, finding neutral, take the left hand behind you, roll the shoulders back down away from the ears and push the elbow, that left elbow down towards the floor. Draw the right ear towards the right shoulder. Maybe pause, take a breath. And then slowly tilt the gaze and the chin up so that you begin stretching through the front of the neck a little bit more. Trying to let the chin tuck back into the throat. So almost think of a double chin action. So if you're reaching the chin forward, you're not going to get as much of a stretch as if you try to stack the head above the spine, or even in your mind think about going slightly behind yourself. And then slowly unwind. Draw yourself to neutral. Take the right arm up and overhead. Push the ribs over towards the right as you reach towards the left. So creating that cross action in the body. And then slowly draw yourself back through neutral. Move in your chair so you can take your left hand to the back of your chair. Again, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale, lift the chest nice and tall. And then exhale, turn away from your arm. Keep pushing that elbow down towards the floor and then into the chair, thinking of that scooping action to help keep the shoulder blade into a more neutral position to further enhance the stretch. And then slowly unwind back through center. Take the right hand behind the body, roll the shoulders down away from the ears. Push that right elbow down towards the floor. Draw the left shoulder towards the left ear. Pause here, take a deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. And slowly shifting the gaze up towards the sky, maybe feeling the stretch a little more in the front side of the neck. Noticing when you do that, if that right ear or the right shoulder sneaks up towards the right ear, draw the elbow down towards the floor. Keep pushing, thinking about doing two opposing actions at the same time. Right elbow down, chest and chin up towards the ceiling. Good. Slowly unwind here, back to neutral. Left hand reaches up towards the sky and then up overhead, bending into the left, or bend into your right side body. Push the left ribs towards the left as you reach the left arm towards the right. So again, two opposing actions. And then slowly draw yourself back through center. Move in your chair, pivot so you can take your right arm back to the back side of your chair. Roll the shoulders back and down. Hug that right elbow into the chair here, and then slowly turn and pivot, trying to draw your chest back towards the front of your chair. And again, opposing actions is shoulder draws down and push that elbow into the chair as you twist away from the arm. Breathing as you twist. One last breath. And back to neutral. And last set of the neck and shoulder stretching here. So left hand behind the body. Roll the shoulders back and down. Draw left elbow towards the floor. Right ear towards right shoulder. Pause. Feel the stretch in the neutral position. And then turn the chin and nose up towards the left so you feel the stretch deepen in the front left side of the neck. Again, stack the chest or the head over top of the chest, drawing the chin back in towards the throat. And then slowly unwinding here. Inhaling, sweeping the right arm up towards the sky, bending into the left side body. Reach towards the left with the right hand, but push those the ribs over towards the right. Reach, 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 two opposing actions. And then slowly draw yourself back through neutral. Left hand behind you, taking hold of the right side of the chair here. Roll the shoulders back and down, hug that elbow into the chair or whatever you're using, and then slowly pivot and turn the body towards the front. Again, shoulders are down away from the ears. And that same action of the chin, try to resist the chin reaching forward. Stack the chin over top of the spine. I can't see you, so if you got a double chin, that's okay. And then slowly unwinding back to neutral. Last one on the second side. So right hand behind the body, roll the shoulders down away from the ears, hug that right shoulder blade in towards the spine, draw left ear towards the left shoulder, and pausing here. And then tilting the gaze and the chin up like you're looking up and over the right shoulder, stacking the head above the neck and shoulders. Breathing. And then slowly unwinding here. Inhaling, reaching the left arm up towards the sky, bending into that right side body, reaching over towards the right with the left hand, and pushing the ribs over towards the left, trying to get as long from that left hip up into the left shoulder as you can. And then inhaling, drawing yourself back to neutral here. And then take a moment and pause. Notice how your neck and shoulders feel. Notice how your mid and upper back feel. Noticing a difference in your body. And making sure that if you ever feel a lot of tightness when you're doing a lot of typing, if you're working on a project and you have a bit of time, taking a few minutes to do that neck and shoulder stretch. And if you're just reading and you're not actually typing, you can do a lot of this. Or if you're listening to audio, you can do this while you're seated. So next, we're working on the hips and the lower back. So from our seated position, you can place your right foot on the floor. Now, if your feet don't quite hit the floor, ergonomically, you should work on that, but you can lower your chair so that you can reach the floor. Take your left foot and draw the outside of your ankle on top of your right knee. Now, if this is a little bit more difficult to get in, you can orient yourself so that you get a little bit more leverage here. And you can sit as far back as you need to begin drawing that knee up. If the foot still doesn't get quite all the way up, you can straighten that right leg a little bit so that it isn't as deep of a stretch. And if the knee is drawing up towards the shoulder, that's perfectly normal and fine when your hips are really tight. We're thinking about energetically drawing that left knee down towards the floor so that we can feel a stretch in the left side of our hip. So if your knee is up and you already feel the stretch, you're perfectly fine. That's where you need to be. If you need to tilt the body a little bit forward to feel that bit of a stretch, again, you can do that. So meeting your body where it is today, and not where you think it should be. And then we'll slowly draw ourselves back out through this position. Now deepen the cross. So take the left foot to the outside completely of that right leg. So our thighs are connected and our knees are as stacked as we can get them. Use your right hand, and you'll take your right hand to the outside of the left knee, or maybe you're even using that right elbow to the outside of the left knee. I'm going to use the hand, and then I'm going to use the back of my chair, because I don't have a really high chair, to help twist me a little bit deeper. So inhale, lift the spine nice and tall, and then exhale, twist, look over the left shoulder, looking away towards the back of your room or wherever the space that you're in. Use your core, find your abs, and squeeze through your abdominals to help get you twisted a little bit deeper. Try not to use only your arms to help you twist. Take one more breath, inhaling, and then exhaling, drawing yourself back through center. Uncross the legs in second side, outside of the right foot to the top of that left knee. And again, take a moment to orient yourself. If you find that this is a bit difficult, you can straighten that left leg out in front of you a little bit more. You might have to perch yourself on your chair a bit. And if you're in a rolly chair, moving to the front of your chair, you're going to have to use your legs to keep you balanced. And if your knee is really up towards the shoulder and you don't feel the stretch in the hip, energetically think about drawing that right knee down towards the floor, and then pausing the moment that you feel a good stretch through that outer hip. Now, if you have some knee stuff, I didn't mention it on the first side, but you're keeping that right foot active, and draw the toes back towards the shin, and that will help engage all the muscles on the lower part of the leg to help keep the knee in a bit more of a neutral position. And energetically, knee down towards the floor. If you need to hinge slightly towards your leg, to get a deeper stretch, you can feel free. Or if you're already hanging on for dear life, just sitting up in a neutral position, that is perfectly fine. I will admit that opening up my hips and glutes is not my favorite. So inhale, draw yourself back through neutral, and stack the thighs. So deepen the cross here. Tack right knee above the left, the thighs are connected. Take that left hand to the outside of that right leg and draw yourself into a twist wherever you need to be. You can take the elbow to the knee, and then you might not need the object behind you. So wherever you are, we're thinking about using our spine to deepen ourselves. So squeeze the right shoulder blade in towards the spine. That will help deepen the twist by taking the right shoulder, reaching over towards the right as the hips are facing over towards the left. Again, find your core, squeeze and use your abdominals, your obliques, to help twist you a little bit deeper. And then slowly drawing yourself back through center, unwinding here. Uncross the legs, back to the first side, that left foot on top of that right knee. Flex through the foot, so draw the toes back towards the knee. Sitting up as tall as you can with your spine. Energetically drawing the knee down towards the floor, and try not to ever go past like parallel with the foot and the ankle. You can see that I can't even demonstrate that to you, but if you're fairly flexible, if you're hypermobile, then being mindful of that. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe hinging at the hips, bending a little bit forward towards the foot. Again, we want to feel that stretch through that left outer hip, through the left glute. You might even feel it in the lower back. And then draw yourself back through neutral, deepen the cross, so stack the knees, connect the thighs, right hand to the outside of the left leg, and then use some leverage to help twist. Find your core, use your core to help twist you as deep as you can, and then the arms are helping to move that last little bit. So as you twist, squeeze, 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 make sure that you're using your body, and then slowly unwinding here. Uncross the legs, second side, right foot on top of outer right foot on top of left knee. Inhale, lift the chest up, and then exhale, maybe hinge forward. Draw the right toes back towards the shin, flexing through that lower part of the leg to help protect the knee. If you're feeling a lot of knee pain, I will show you another way to enter this as we move into the second side. So slowly drawing yourself back out of this, deepen the cross, so stacking the thighs. Maybe the knees are stacked, and if they don't quite stack, that's perfectly fine. Wherever you are, we're working on the twist. So twisting, looking over that right shoulder towards the back of the room. Use your obliques to help twist you a little bit deeper. And then slowly unwinding here. Uncross the legs. Last one, third one on this side. So left foot on top of that right knee. Oh, wait, pause. If you have knee pain, what you want to do first is think about having the leg at neutral, draw the knee in towards the chest so that the leg is in this neutral position, then rotate out through the hip. So don't think about forcing the leg first. You want to rotate out through the hip, and when you get to the moment that you would have to force your ankle further than your knee, that's where you pause. And then you stack on top. So if your knee is in more of a up angle, that's perfectly fine. That's where you want to stay, rather than trying to rotate through the lower leg. The knee is more of a hinge, forward and backwards, and has a little bit of rotation. But if you have had some knee injuries in the past, you may find that putting this torque on your knee in this position is a bit aggravating to the knee. So in that case, I always say instead of knee towards the floor, you want to think knee in and pivot wherever you are. So the knee can sneak up towards the shoulder if you have some knee issues. And then slowly unwinding out of this, taking that left leg deep in the cross here. And twist, so looking over your left shoulder, use your right hand to help deepen you, use your core to help squeeze. The shoulders draw down away from the ears. And then slowly unwind back through center. Last one, last side. So taking the outer ankle on top of that left knee. So right foot is up, right toes are drawing towards the right shin. Inhale, lift the chest up. And then exhale, maybe you're hinging forward. Again, paying attention to your knee. If you're feeling a lot of torque, draw the knee up a little bit more towards the chest, maybe even holding onto the knee so it isn't collapsing into that joint there. And then slowly releasing out of this, deepen the cross, taking the knees, stacking them, connecting the thighs. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, left arm to the outside of that right leg, twisting, looking over that right shoulder. Find your core, squeeze as you're here. Breathe as you're in the twist. Last one, inhale. And then exhale, slowly unwind. So last set of exercises here is we're going to open up the hips, the hamstrings, and the groin. So draw yourself into a standing position. Take your chair and move it so that you can face it and have almost a yoga mat amount of space in front and beside it. So starting with the hamstring stretch, we'll start by drawing our right foot up on top of the chair. So your right heel is on top of the object that you're stretching. If you're on the floor, you can just do this with either foot on the couch, or you can do this in a seated position as well. So from this position, inhale, lift the chest up and try to get tall through the spine and lengthen the spine. Exhale, maybe you're hinging at the hips, maybe you're very tall, wherever you need to be to begin feeling a stretch through your hamstrings. Notice the difference between when your foot is flexed, so draw your toes back towards your knee. Maybe you notice how that deepens the stretch and you feel the stretch all the way into the back of the knee here. And that will help deepen the stretch through the whole back line. If you point your toes, you'll feel a big difference in that stretch. So when we're doing a hamstring stretch, think toes back towards the knee. And then slowly pivot yourself through drawing the inside of the foot and the sole of the foot down onto the floor, and then turn so that you're now facing over towards what was front, or maybe you're facing towards the right. But either way, you're on an angle from your chair. You're not facing front or back, you're facing towards the right side of your chair. So your foot is up onto the chair, and you should probably feel a bit of a groin stretch. If you're on a wheelie chair, you're going to have to use a bit of strength to make sure it doesn't roll away on you. Maybe you heel toe your foot in a little bit, depending on where you need the stretch. If you want to, you can bend through that left knee slightly so that you deepen the stretch a little bit further here. Get tall through the spine, lifting up. Whew. And then slowly release yourself out. And then pivot so that you're now facing the front, the same direction as your chair. Okay, so you can see now we're trying to stretch the front of the leg. If this is too deep, you can do this with your foot completely on the floor. Okay, so if you draw yourself into a lunge position, or you can have your foot up onto the chair or the object. If it's wheeling around on you, then I do recommend foot on the floor. Lunging into that front left leg, try to be mindful of not letting too much pressure go into the leg, letting the knee sneak past the toes. Try to stack the knee as best as you can over top of the ankle, but also know that if it does sneak forward a little bit, that's okay. But energetically, you want to think about pivoting so that your hips face forward and you're trying to slide that left hip back into socket. And then slowly release your right foot down, draw yourself back to neutral. Shake out the legs, and then we're doing second side. So left heel draws up onto your chair. Maybe you're just on the floor and you're reaching for the foot. So drawing the left toes back towards that left knee, activating. If you need to, heel toe wiggle that right foot back a little bit. And know that if you fall out of this is a bit of balancing here, that's perfectly fine, very normal. I'll probably do it at some point in the next couple minutes here too. So toes are drawing back towards the shin, hinging at the hips so you feel a stretch right from the tailbone, or the sit bone rather, of the left side, down towards that left heel. So by drawing the toes back towards the shin, you deepen the stretch and really involve the calf as well. And then slowly drawing yourself back to neutral, pivot so that your left foot is on the chair here. Maybe heel toe, reach yourself out so that you have a bit of a groin stretch. Again, you can stay up nice and tall if you're already feeling a stretch. Maybe you're bending into that right side so that you can deepen a little bit here. Wherever you need. If you find that this is too much, again, you can do this on the floor, doing a side lunge until you feel your version of your stretch. So just trying to use our prop as much as we can. That's why I'm trying to use the chair for almost everything that we do. But if you don't need it, that's perfectly fine. And then pivot and spin, so facing the same direction as your chair, lunging into that right leg with your left toes up onto the object. If you find that this is too much, again, you can take left foot down, draw yourself into a low lunge so that you feel, or maybe even a high lunge, so that you feel some stretch in that left side. And being mindful of your right knee. So depending on where you are in your chair, your right toe or right knee might want to sneak behind your right toes. So look down, try to slide back so that you can actually see some of your right foot, and hug that right hip in towards your socket. So draw that right hip back into socket. And then slowly draw yourself out. Give your legs a little shake. So let's do that again on that second side. Or on the first side for a second time. So left foot up onto the chair. Draw left toes back towards the knee. Inhale, lift the chest tall, and then exhale, maybe you hinge forward. Maybe you're staying where you were. And again, trying to really involve the whole back side of the leg by drawing the toes back towards the shin. I think I'm doing the same side again. That's okay. We're going to do both sides again anyway, so that's fine. So draw that left foot so that you're facing now towards the left. Drawing yep, I'm definitely doing the same side. So stretching through that left side of the groin, standing on your right foot. Begin bending into that right knee if you need it, or if you find that this is too much, you can draw your left foot down onto the floor. Breathing as you're stretching through the groin. And then inhaling, drawing yourself up, and exhaling, pivoting, facing towards the front of your mat. Or if you don't have your mat, because you don't really need it, facing the front of wherever. Lunging and bending into your leg as much as you need to. Finding your core, finding your hips, trying to square the hips up so the action is drawing that right hip in towards the socket and pivoting that left hip down. Your body can be hinged forward, or maybe you're trying to stand up tall. If you find that that's putting a lot of torque on your lower back, then you can hinge the body a little bit forward here, but find your core, find your abs and engage. And then slowly lift yourself up, back out. Draw yourself back up through neutral. Now for real, let's do the first side for a second time. Take your right foot up onto the chair. So right heel is on the chair. Draw your right toes back towards your shin. Try to straighten that right leg. If there's a bend in here, you won't feel as much of a stretch, but if your hamstrings are fairly tight, that bend might be natural for you. So hinging at the hips until you feel that stretch, drawing those toes back towards the knee as much as you can to deepen the stretch as well. And then pivoting, taking yourself into a groin stretch by drawing the right foot down onto the floor. Maybe you're bending into that left knee. And if you're in a wheelie chair, if that chair is sliding on you and that's creating too much of a stretch here, you can draw your foot down onto the floor to do a side lunge. When you're doing this lunge here, try to avoid that left knee collapsing in. You want to engage your glutes here, stand strong in the leg, stacking the knee over the ankle as best as you can. And then slowly draw back up, pivot, face it the front of the room here, bend into the leg, bend into that left knee, hug the hips forward, begin feeling that stretch through that front of the left hip, inhaling, lifting the chest up nice and tall, and then exhale, let's slowly unwind here. Whew. So we're doing 2 sets of all those leg ones. And then find your seat, so taking a nice comfortable seat once again, and take a moment to recheck in with your body. So noticing how your body feels. Maybe you're gently closing the eyes, maybe the eyes are gently open. Taking a moment to see how your hips, your legs, how they feel. Taking a moment to notice through the core, around the spine, into the upper and mid back, noticing your shoulders and your neck, maybe feeling a bit more lightness through the body after taking a few moments to open and energize yourself. And then move through the rest of your day being mindful of your body, being mindful of how it feels. And know that if you need a minute to help stretch and release, that's perfectly fine. You know, in school, we make kids have recess and have time between and take breaks. But as we become adults and we get involved in corporations and the working life, we feel forced to just work and be productive. But know that if you need a little recess for yourself, that is perfectly fine. Taking 5 minutes to take care of yourself now will pay dividends in the long end. So slowly maybe opening your eyes. And thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you feel a little bit better, and I look forward to seeing you next time.